And we back. Today we're doing something a little bit new. I went onto Twitter and I said, give me just different things about the NBA. Anything. It could be a person, a team, a situation, and I'll tell you straight up. Is it a W or an L? There ain't no in-betweens here. Either it's a fat W or a fat L. Let's get into the first one. Rashi says Billy Donovan's coaching. Start off getting me heated because I have expressed my opinion on this channel and on the podcast, and I don't like Billy Donovan's coaching. I don't. And Pierre told me the other day, like, listen, Billy Donovan is a great college coach, and that's fine and all. But it's kind of rare for a coach to go from a great college coach to a great NBA coach. It has happened. Brad Stevens, great coach at Butler, great coach of the Celtics. But even one of the best college coaches of all time, Calipari, Kentucky, Memphis, Kentucky, you know who I'm talking about. He tried to coach in the NBA, and it was an absolute disaster. He went back to college, and he's great again. So Billy Donovan was a great college coach, factual. But when it comes to the NBA, it is a different monster. And he fails at it. One of the main reasons I don't like Billy Donovan as a coach is because when I watch this team play, I don't think he's calling plays. I don't think they're running sets. It is very, very stagnant. There is no motion whatsoever. There was a stat that came out that said that Carmelo Anthony last year set 90 screens, off-ball screens, just 90. There's 82 games. You think the man is setting one screen a game? It is crazy that the offense of this team is where it was. And they have the personnel to be a good offense. They do. They just don't have the plays to make it happen. Russell Westbrook led that team his MVP season. A terrible team, if you ask me, to the playoffs. Respected MVP. And in that offseason, they bring in Paul George. You're like, yo, this team is about to be so much better. And then they win one more game. And I think you can blame that on players, but I'm going to blame a lot of that on the coaching. We get around to the playoffs. Quinn Snyder destroyed Billy Donovan as coaching. Destroyed him. Got to the point where Billy Donovan was in the huddle. He wasn't saying nothing. It was the assistant coaches. And it was Steven Adams drawing the plays up. I'm not a fan. I think the OKC team this year should be good, but I think they'd be so much better if they had a coach to run plays. And I don't mean a coach that's going to be like, Russell, I need you to do this play this time, this play. Just like some type of offensive flow, man. Just anything. Billy Donovan coaching? Fat L. David said, NBA players staying loyal to one team. That is a very good one. My opinion on this has changed a lot. I'm going to say NBA players staying loyal to one team is an L. I know it's crazy. Kenny, you okay with players flipping teams? Yes. Because we have seen over the past couple years that the NBA is a business above everything. Younger me was like, when I was growing up, we had players like Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, Dirk, who spend their entire career with one team. And that's when loyalty was like at its peak. But nowadays, it's so much different. And the prime example of that is Isaiah Thomas, right? Think about Isaiah Thomas' season from a few years ago. He averages 30. A year before that, he's a solid player. But the year after that, he averages 30, is an MVP candidate, leads his team to one of the best seeds in the Eastern Conference. His sister passes away. And instead of taking time to grieve like somebody would, a normal person would, he's like, you know what, my team needs me. I'm going to step on the court. And the day before the game, the day of the game, the team is warming up and stuff, and he's crying tears. But in his heart, he's like, I got to play for my team. I got to do this for the city. He suffers this incredible hip injury. And though the coaches and the training staff was like, IT, you should probably not play, he still went out there and tried to play his heart out. And then he was traded. And if you ask me, it's perfect for the Celtics. They traded a guy coming off that hip injury for a bona fide star in Kyrie Irving. That is a crazy trade that they won. But for Isaiah Thomas' standpoint, he's like, really? I did all this for the city, and that's what you do? And that's why I'm saying that, like, the NBA is a business. So because of that, if I was a player, I would treat it as such. The front office may just love me while I'm good. And if they see an opportunity, they may trade you. So that's why we get players like Kevin Durant going to another team, or LeBron James, who's, if you ask me, a super loyal guy, goes to another situation because it's a business. it's a business above everything. I mean, it does sound dope to be alongside Kobe, to be alongside Tim Duncan, to be alongside Dirk, as being players to spend their entire... Oh, yeah, did I forget about Udonis Haslem, Nick Collison? Players that spend their entire career in one organization. But at the end of the day, you got to think about yourself above everything else. So I'm going to say staying loyal to one team is an L. Anonymous Jones says the 1 through 16 seeding in the playoffs. So right now, the way the playoffs work, you have the top 8 teams in the East battle it out to see who makes the finals, and the top teams in the West battle it out and see who makes the finals. The idea would be that instead of it being East-West, just basically the top 16 teams in the NBA make the playoffs. And I've been a huge advocate for this idea for years now, because we've seen situations where the Western Conference is so stacked. We got 2 teams miss the playoffs that were very, very good teams, and then the Eastern Conference have 3 teams that are due to make the playoffs. I just want the 16 best teams battle it out. And let me show y'all a graphic. This is ESPN's projected 2018-2019 playoff matchup, all right? So these are the teams that Kevin Pelton, an insider of the NBA, thinks are going to make the playoffs. If you take a look at the Western Conference side, you're going to see 2 teams he's projected not to make the playoffs. That is the LA Lakers, who just acquired LeBron James, and then the San Antonio Spurs, who have not missed the playoffs in the last 20 years and now have DeMar DeRozan on their squad. He's projecting those 2 teams don't make the playoffs, but if we take a look at the Eastern Conference teams, if you ask me, both of those teams are better than the Detroit Pistons. So the Pistons may make the playoffs, where you have the Spurs maybe missing, or the Lakers maybe missing. I don't think that. But that's why I'm thinking that if you just put the 16 best teams, you don't have to worry about the Spurs missing the playoffs or potentially the Lakers missing the playoffs, because they're going to be better than the Detroit Pistons. So I'm going to say the idea of the 1 through 16 seeding, so should I throw that up? It's a W. Boston says center like Andre Drummond and Hassan Whiteside shooting threes next year. I'm going to say it's a W. It's always good to see players evolve a little bit. We're in a league where a 3-point shot is super important, and players like Drummond and Hassan Whiteside, if they can expand their range a little bit, I guess it's good for their team's offense. We've seen Hassan Whiteside hit a 3 in the Africa versus World game. Was that what it was a couple days ago? He had a 3 there, and he said that he can shoot, but Spoelstra don't let him shoot. So, I mean, if you can't shoot, let it fly. And Drummond has been working on his shot in the offseason, too. I'm going to say it's just a W, just because evolving as a player is always good. It's better for the offense that teams have to respect you no matter where you are. So, W. Xavier Jimenez said Tatum at an 87 rating over Kemba at an 86. He's talking about 2K. 2K has been releasing some of the ratings for the upcoming game, 2K19. And you know what's an L? Y'all caring about these ratings. Forget the ratings of 2K. People, y'all are reacting to those ratings. Really? Those matter to you? 2K has always been a dynamic game, which means that 2 weeks into the season, if you don't like that Kemba Walker is only an 86, he plays well, then he's an 87. Who cares about what his rating is in the first day of 2K's release? It does not matter. It does not matter. People keep asking me, Kenny, what do you think about this and that with the ratings? None of that matters to me, because Kyle Kuzma was like a 69 overall at the beginning of last year, and he turned out to be a 78. If you play well, your overall goes up. If you play bad, your overall goes down. Who cares what it's at the beginning? See, people that care about this are the people that base their NBA opinions on 2K. Like, we can agree 2K is not a great game. You know what I mean? A lot of things happen in 2K that don't happen in real life. So I'm not taking 2K as factual. 2K thinks that Jason Tatum's better than Kemba Walker. Who cares? It's 2K. Form it up here yourself. Brady said redoing the league and teams have a fantasy draft so teams aren't so stacked. So he's basically saying that everybody's in the draft, and then whoever has the first pick is probably going to pick LeBron. Who has the second pick KD, yada, yada, yada. I think this is an L, man. Teams work hard to build their teams. You know, as much as you hate the Golden State Warriors, they worked hard to get their team to where they are. They drafted Steph Curry, drafted Klay Thompson, drafted Draymond Green, turned into a great big 3, and then it enticed another great player in Kevin Durant to join the team. They won a couple championships. Then they enticed another great player in DeMarcus Cousins to join the team. That's hard work. You know, you putting everybody into a fantasy draft to restart, that's basically restarting the whole league. It's not good, man. The Boston Celtics worked hard to get their assets. No. This is for people that have this idea, or for teams that have been bad, making bad decisions for years and years. People work hard to keep their team good. So I'm going to say this is an L. I'm not up for that idea. Julian says Toronto firing Casey and trading KOT4Q in the same season. Shout out to you, Julian. Met him a couple days ago at the JBA event. I'm going to say it's a W. I know it's weird, right? Okay, so I've mentioned this before once Dwayne Casey was fired the first time. I think of this as a situation with the Mark Jackson, Steve Kerr situation. Mark Jackson had the Golden State Warriors, a pretty good team, but they were like, man, we need a coach that is get us over the hump. They hired Steve Kerr, and they win a championship year one. Sometimes you need a new coach to get your players over that hump. So I think that's a dub. And then if you think about what they traded, again, the NBA is a business. DeMar DeRozan is one of the most loyal people to his city, to that whole country, you know, of Canada. And they end up trading him away. But what they got in return is a top 5 player when he's healthy. So I'm going to say it's a W for both. The real caveat is if they aren't able to re-sign him at the end of the season, talking about Kawhi Leonard, then the second half of that may turn into an L because now you don't have DeMar or Kawhi. But right now, at the beginning of the season, I'm going to say both W moves. Leo says the I Promise School, the biggest W that I can give on the video. It's so great to see people in power or people with a lot of funds helping out people that need help. And that's exactly what LeBron did. He's taking in kids, building a new school, giving them free lunches, giving them a new bike, and giving them, if they do well, a free tuition to Akron University or Akron College. You perform well in the I Promise School, you got college for free. I went to college. It was not free. It's expensive as hell. LeBron is changing these kids' lives, and it is a huge, huge W. If anybody's criticizing what LeBron is doing, you don't really care about the future. These kids are the future of this country, and LeBron is helping a portion of them try to improve their life from now until they're adults. And one thing that many people don't know about this school, everybody that's accepted into the I Promise School are people that need help when it comes to their schooling. People that are reading at a below grade average of where they're at, or their testing is not great. This is a school full of people that need that extra attention. You know, it's not like some guy that gets straight A's is gonna go to the I Promise School. They're saving that spot for people that really, really need that extra help. And a huge W. LeBron is a role model for all of us, whether you like him on the court or hate him. You got to respect what he does off of it. Thank y'all so much for watching this video, man. I always like coming up with new ideas, and sometimes it hits you at the weirdest times. I was walking my dog and strolling through Twitter, and somebody reminded me that Gordon Hayward signed a shoe deal, or is going to sign a shoe deal with New Balance, and I was like, New Balance? That's an L. I said, oh. Maybe I should tell the world what else is an L about the NBA. And boom, the idea hit. So sometimes, you know, it can hit at the weirdest spots. Thank y'all so much for getting to this point in the video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave it a like. Thank y'all to everybody that replied. I got over 500 responses, and it's hard to pick the best ones when it's 500 of them, you know. I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new video. Thank y'all so much. Peace.